To read data from a file, we must first create a file in our project. To do this, right-click on our project and click New File. Now give your file a name and make sure that you add .txt at the end of your file so that the program will pick it up. Next, put your data in the file and then save. Now you have a file available that you can work with. Now in your program, we're going to use some functions to help us read data from a file. So the first function is open. It takes two parameters. One is a file name, and the second one is to specify whether you're reading data or you're writing data. So in our case, it will be the letter R, indicating that we're going to be reading data. And we're setting this function to a name called inFile that we'll be using throughout the program. The next step in our program is to get all the data from the file and put it into a list. So we're creating a list called AllData, and we're using a function read on our inFile. This will read all the data into a list called AllData. Next, we close the file using the function .close. Finally, we print our list, which contains the data from the file. Now we're going to write data to a file. So first thing is we need our data. So we have a list of integers called marks. Again, we're going to use some functions to work with the file. So here we're going to use the open function again, and it's going to open a file called grade11results.txt. And as you can see here, we have changed the parameter from R to W, which means write. One thing to note with writing, the file you specify, if it doesn't exist already, the program will create a file and write the data to the file. If the program does exist already, we will overwrite the data that's currently in that file. Before we write our data to the file, we must first convert it to string. We're using the string function with marks as our parameter. To write our data in marks to the file, we're going to use a .write function. So here we're using outfile.write and then marks as a parameter, and this will write the data to the file. Finally, we will close the file using the .close function. Now it's time to run our program. So we run our program, and now we're going to look for our file. So we check our project for the name, which is grade11results.txt, and we can see our data is written there. So this is the data from marks. So let's change our data and run the program again. So we'll change the first couple of elements. So the first two elements is 45 and 53. Let's run the program again with this new data. So when we check our file, again, it should have 45 and 52, which it does.